Happy New Year's Eve, you filthy animals. How are you guys doing? Thank you for joining me once again for the final live stream of 2022. And 2023 is almost here, and that scares me deep down inside. I don't know how I feel about this. Life is going too fast, but with all that said, I have a delicious beverage right here, and I hope you do too. I think I have 3 ice cubes, no more, no less in there. Actually, I do in fact have 3 ice cubes in there. Let me take a sip of this. Oh, that's the good stuff. How are you guys doing? Once again, thanks for joining me once again. And I have my faithful Macaulay Culkin sweater on because I forgot to wear it for the Christmas live show, but nevertheless, it is here. If only we as a society could wear a Macaulay Culkin shirt every day of the year, I truly believe the world would be a better place. But with all that said, let's dive into your questions. We got one here from Chris Salomu. How's everyone doing tonight? Well, I hope everyone's doing well. And as far as when it comes to the top 10 best and worst, maybe most disappointing of the year, when I do those lists, I do those in January. I'm sorry, there's just too much shit at the culmination at the end of the year with Christmas, New Year's. There's still movies coming out. To try to make one of those videos, I just feel like it would be so disingenuous and slopped and put together with not real deep thoughts and substance put into them. That's how I feel about those when people rush those out. But either way, I will be doing mine in January. And I'm still not sure what my top 10 best and worst of the year are. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know what my worst movie of the year is. But like the other 9 behind it, I'm not quite sure. What movies did I hate the most this year? I have to sit down and think about that one day, which is kind of depressing if you really do think about it. It looks like Scotch, John. Have a sip. I think it's Crown. It's Crown, I believe. But nevertheless, it's very delicious. By the way, do you guys like the lighting scheme back here? I don't know why I've never done this color tone, this color palette before, but it's truly relaxing. It definitely has that 1980s synthwave vibe. All right, we got a question here from Carter Lovejoy. How the hell was 2013 10 years ago? Also, what are some movies you hope to get 4Ks in 2023? Let's hope Point Break 1991 and Nightcrawler gets a 4K soon. Absolutely, and I'll tell you 2 things right now, Carter. First of all, actually, I'm going to tell you 3 things, Carter, okay? Happy New Year to you. Carter is, I think, my number 1 fan when it comes to live streams. Every day on Snapchat, he sends me a question saying, John, live stream tonight? ? And here we are. But yeah, 2013, 10 years ago. It's weird. In the last 10 years, I truly feel like I have lived 5 lifetimes. It's weird. Every time I move, I feel like I lived a different life. Like I shouldn't be playing. Like it was like, it's like playing a role-playing video game or something. Like every time I moved, I was in a different lifestyle, a different role. It feels weird. And now it finally feels like I pushed pause in the video game and stepped into reality, and I'm like, oh, I can see everything now. And as far as Nightcrawler and Point Break hitting 4K, yes, please. And I watched both those movies this last week. I've been watching my favorite movies all week long. You know, we finally got our theater room dialed in. The sound was just so beautiful. And I'll tell you this. You guys know I like physical media, and I think most of you like it as well. But there's something truly, just not even picture quality. Get the picture quality out of it. We already know the picture quality is superior when it comes to optical discs. Blu-ray or 4K compared to streaming. But I watched Nightcrawler last night, and I showed my lady friend the movie for the first time. She liked it. She understood it. But the optical disc of Nightcrawler, I forgot how good the sound, the score, and the sound mixing was for that movie, because I put that on my surround sound system. It was like watching the movie for the first time since 2014. I don't remember the last time I watched that Blu-ray, and I don't remember the last time I watched that Blu-ray specifically with a surround sound system. But watching it last night, like I was picking up on little sounds I've never heard. It was like one of the most immersive experiences of watching Nightcrawler. And keep in mind, I've seen that movie probably 100 times now. But last night was like the most immersive, thrilling experience I've had with it in a very long time. And I give it credit to the optical disc, which had more audio tracks than streaming ever will, because every little sound and nuance on my surround sound speakers was just like lighting up. In the car chase scene at the end of the movie, the rumbling going on in my theater room was like, I was like, ooh, it was literally giving me goosebumps. So That's why you guys got to go watch optical discs sometimes. Sometimes you watch a movie on Netflix or something, and you're like, yeah, that was good. But if you have the optical disc and you have a good surround sound system, take that optical disc, play the movie again, and just listen to how much better it sounds. Like it's just like it's like a different movie. So either way, I know I'm going on a tangent here and I digress, but let's get back to your questions. I don't even know where I'm at right now. Hang on. Okay. Here we go. Dr. Rockwell says, "Hey John, as a big fan of Silence of the Lambs yourself, what are your thoughts on Red Dragon? I personally think it's highly underrated." I do too. Now, it's easily Brett Ratner's best movie he's ever done because the guy typically directs Hollywood mumbo-jumbo bullshit, and he's a yes man to the studio system. But with Red Dragon, it does feel like a quality prequel movie. Now, keep in mind, Red Dragon is sort of a remake of a Michael Mann movie from the 1980s, which is very similar in many ways, where you had a different incarnation of Hannibal Lecter played by another actor who wasn't as good. But yeah, I really like Red Dragon. I like Ray Fiennes as the villain of the film. Do you see? He's transforming. Do you see? It's a great movie. It really is. And I like the overall, like the instances where you have Edward Norton encountering Hannibal Lecter once again, kind of like the copy and paste of what Clarice Starling did with Hannibal Lecter down in the dungeon. But no, I really enjoy it. I think it's a really underrated movie, and it's probably, outside of Silence of the Lambs, it's the best next to film movie in that universe. Like Hannibal, it wasn't that good. Hannibal Rising was an abomination against humanity, but yeah, Red Dragon's pretty solid. I still enjoy it. And it's got what is his name? Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah. I'm gonna hurt her. I'm gonna hurt her bad. Let's go to the next one here. We got one here. Lee Kane Pettit. Happy New Year, mate. You are simply the best. Love from the UK. What type of YouTube videos genuinely disturb/scare you late at night? I don't watch creepy, scary YouTube videos late at night, to be honest with you. I think just scrolling down the news feed of like Facebook is enough for me to terrify me. Reality is much more terrifying than fiction ever could be. That's my motto. Like if you just read the current events happening around in the world today, you're like, oh, that's some creepy, scary shit. But for some reason, we just turn on Netflix and pretend like it's not happening outside. But it is. Lock your doors. They're coming for you. All right. Yeah. So late at night, I don't usually watch creepy YouTube videos. The creepiest stuff I come across on YouTube is just my old videos. It's a cringe fest, but nevertheless, I'm glad it exists. All right. The next one comes from Azim the Dream Reviews. Happy New Year, Johnny. What are some of your New Year's resolutions? Also, any new workout tips for the gym? We love you, and I never said thank you, and you never have to. New Year's resolutions? I don't know, man. I would like to get a few of these video ideas that I've had in my head for a long time out. Like I'd like to take them. What I would like to do is I would like to take a power tool up to my skull and drill a hole into my brain. And then I would like to take a straw and hire someone to suck out all the juice, which is known as the ideas in my head, suck it out, spit it into a blender, turn it on, then I pour that out and I serve it to all of you. Those are the ideas I want to get out of my head to you. Does that sound utterly disgusting? Yes, it does. But I hope you guys drink it and enjoy it at some point. That's my New Year's resolution, just to get some of these ideas I've had for a while out into the universe. Any new workout tips for the gym? I don't know. I haven't been to the gym in like a week or two. Last time I went, it was a magical experience. I went to the sauna, the steam room, the pool, the hot tub, and I have not done that in a very long time, and I forgot how good that just feels. There's nothing better than a good workout where you get a solid pump, right? You go to the steam room, you get nice and juiced up, and then to cleanse your soul and all of your sins, you jump right into that freezing cold swimming pool. It's indoors. Keep in mind, it's an indoor swimming pool. It's not like it's outside right now. And just something about that, it's like being reborn. That's the best advice I can give you. Let's go to the next one here. Chad Hagen says, what type of movie would you direct? That's a great question. And I've said this once and I'll say it again. If you gave me an ample amount of time and like a $10 million budget, I honestly believe I would direct a movie similar to Nightcrawler. It just has every single aspect of a film I like. It's simple. There's great character moments. The bad guy is oddly enough relatable. You enjoy watching him and you sort of root for the bad guy of the film, but the film doesn't treat the villain like the villain. It treats him like the hero. And that's how Nightcrawler, to me, is directed. And just the musical score, the tone, the look of the movie, the nighttime sequences, it's always going. There's sort of like a buddy team up aspect in the movie with Lou Bloom and Rick, his assistant. Just the quotable lines, that to me encapsulates the purity of what a good movie should be. It's not a $300 million Marvel movie with a whole bunch of green screen. No. This movie relies on the story and the characters. And without those things, it fails. But everything else is just a bonus. So honestly, something like Nightcrawler, I think that's the movie I would want to make. Now, would it maybe have more dark humor in it? I don't know, possibly. But yeah, I think that's the all-encompassing, like, what I would like to create. The next one comes from a guy from Kings Highway. Happy New Year. Now wish me a Happy New Year back. Well, Happy New Year to guy from Kings Highway. It just rolls right off the tongue. And by the way, sorry for the lack of live shows the last couple weeks. I had a cold. And I was blowing my nose every 12 seconds. I didn't think you guys wanted to watch me blow my nose for like 2 hours straight. It would have been slightly entertaining, but also disgusting and annoying. So that's why I didn't do a live show last week. So continuing on with your question here. Say it like you mean it. Also, like you want me to have the best year imaginable. Oh, okay. I should have read that first. Have a happy fucking New Year, man. Go get them. Did that feel good? All right. The next one comes from Luke Mikalevy. Luke Mikalevy. John, have you watched 1883, 1923, and Yellowstone? I haven't watched any of those. I haven't. I've heard good things about Yellowstone. I like me some Kevin Costner, don't get me wrong. I just watched Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves the other day. But I just can't bring myself to watch Yellowstone. I just can't watch people that live on a ranch go through all this drama that's so heightened to the point of like it takes me right out of it. For some odd reason, when drama gets too heightened in a series, I'm sort of like, this just feels like drama for the sake of drama. I don't want that. Why can't they just have a day where they're just like hanging out, like, does something bad always have to happen? I know in Hollywood, when you write a screenplay, yes, it does. But for me, when I watch a movie, like I know we're getting on another tangent here, but I enjoy the first 2 acts of a movie. And then when the drama happens and people have to find a resolution, I'm like, no, I stop it. Let's just live life. The next one comes from, it's coming from somebody here. There we go. Okay. Luis Javier Rubio. How's it going, Luis? Happy New Year's. What do you say after you eliminate your wife who ended up being a villain when you're a testosterone beast? What is this question? I'm sorry. What do you say after you eliminate your wife who ended up being a villain when you're a testosterone beast? Lewis, I don't know what that means, and I don't even care to interpret it. I think a group of the best expert psychologists couldn't interpret what that is supposed to mean, but it sounds like you have a lot of anger deep down inside. I think, if anything, what you should do, if I'm just guessing in this scenario, you take a quotable line from Arnold, whatever it is, you go and you apply it to the situation. So in this instance, you go, screw you, and that's what you do. The next one comes from Alexander Helson. John, All of Robert Zemeckis' movies are going to be outlawed and thrown in the fire as of January 1st. You can only decide of his work which do you so which one do I keep? If I had to keep one Robert Zemeckis, I hate that question. I really hate it. That's a disgusting question, but I like it. So I would probably, it's going to be 2. God, it could almost be 3, but okay. It's going to be Back to the Future or it's going to be Forrest Gump. And I know a lot of people are going to go, oh, it's easily Back to the Future. Keep Back to the Future. Yes. But if I keep Back to the Future, do I get to keep the trilogy from Zemeckis? Or do I only get to keep one of the movies? Because to me, Forrest Gump is like 25 movies in one. I can start Forrest Gump and end Forrest Gump, and I got the experience of 25 different movies right there. But speaking of Forrest Gump, very quickly, before I answer your question, tonight at around 10 o'clock, if you start Forrest Gump, you can celebrate the new year with Lieutenant Dan, like they do in the movie, where he's sitting there at the bar just thinking about his whole life as it passes by, making a change. Either way, I would probably keep... I hate the question, man. Is it weird? I think I get more from Forrest Gump than I do Back to the Future. I know. I just think there's a little more to it. But Back to the Future, oh my God. I hate that question. If I can keep all 3 Back to the Future movies, maybe I'll keep the trilogy. But if I can only keep one, I'm taking Forrest Gump. I just am. You can't replace Lieutenant Dan. All right, the next one comes from Will H. John, are you looking forward to the upcoming reboot of The Crow with Bill Skarsgård? Not really. I was never a huge fan of the first Crow movie. I get why people like it. It just never was a movie that translated well to me. It might be made into a TV series instead of a film. The original 1994 movie is an all-time favorite. Well, that's cool. I get why you like it. There's a lot of cool things about it. Also, eerily enough, there's a lot of eerie things that relate to The Crow and Heath Ledger's Joker performance in The Dark Knight. There's even scene for scene, I would say, inspired things that Nolan borrowed from The Crow, especially when The Crow interrupts the meeting of the villains in the movie The Crow, and then you have the same scene where the Joker comes and interrupts the mob in the basement. If you look at it scene for scene, shot for shot, it's almost a copy and paste. And also the tragic, untimely passing of both main actors. Kind of a weird, eerie phenomenon coincidence if you think about it. The next one comes from... Oh, by the way, speaking of The Crow, I think it actually would be better as a series. I really do. If you could treat it with the high level of quality and care like an HBO, sort of like The Last of Us or House of the Dragon-esque quality series, and you just happen to be telling the story of The Crow, I think that would be really neat, actually. Z White says, Snapchat, I can't find it unless I was blocked. I don't know. You just type in the flick pick, man. You should find me. I'm on there. I don't really use it, but I'm on there. The next one comes from Funny How. Playing Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 made me realize how much I love redemption stories. I think they always have complex plots and make you care for the characters the most. What do you think? Oh, a story about redemption is always one of my favorites. I love when a character is mistreated and mishandled and society just crapped on them for no reason, and they have to get back to the man. They have to prove themselves with vengeance and redemption. They're great stories. I mean, one of my favorite stories, it's more of a story about retribution than it is redemption, but like Django Unchained. But if you want a solid story about redemption, it's in the title, The Shawshank Redemption. Solid story. Lee Kane Pettit says, I watched Fat City. There's a movie called Fat City from 1972. This drink is kicking in. 1972, Jeff Bridges playing an alcoholic boxer in a seedy and grimy drama. You need a shower after watching it. You would love it. I do like me a seedy, disgusting movie. It's called Fat City 1972. Jeff Bridges? Man, that's going to be a young Jeff Bridges. All right, I'll look into it. Sounds good. I like me a CD movie. Akai Nai or NG, whatever I want. I'll call you. I like calling you NG. Akai says, "Happy New Year, John. Happy 2023." Well, thanks, man. Hope 2023 is a magical and mystical year. Thank you for making this flick pick family our fortress and our solitude and our savior. Thanks, man. Thanks for that. Hope you guys have a good 2023 as well. It's kind of weird, though. Something about... I know this is going to sound weird, and thanks to all 262 of you watching. Keep in mind, I'm going to do this live stream for about another 40 minutes. I'm wrapping this up at 8:30. Just to let you know, I'm not sitting here until midnight tonight. I don't have the energy, the charisma, the stamina to do that. But I will stay here for another 40 minutes until 8:30. But yeah, speaking of 2023, something about odd numbers bother me a lot. Yeah. Like 2023, I have a feeling just something about the 3. It's off to me. It's going to be a weird year. Something weird is going to happen this year. I can't quite place it, but it's going to get weird. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. They're listening right now. That's all I can say. All right. The next one comes from Carter Lovejoy. Did you see the teaser for the upcoming Barbie movie? I did. It was okay. Like, I'm looking forward to the movie, don't get me wrong. And I never thought I would say I'm looking forward to an upcoming Barbie movie, but I am. I like that it's self-aware and it's going to be sort of like a comedy or whatever. But the 2001 parody in it was the funniest thing I've seen lately. Yeah, I think the trailer was interesting enough. I think it set the tone for like, okay, this isn't going to be some modern day crappy comedy movie about Barbie. I think it like set the tone to say it's going to be something else, but it just happens to have the characters of Barbie in it. So for that, I think the trailer did something interesting to get people that normally wouldn't be interested in a Barbie movie, maybe sort of intrigued. But as far as Margot Robbie, when it comes to movies lately, she's like box office poison, like Amsterdam, Babylon. Both these movies were box office bombs this year, and they just so happen to star her. Which, is it her fault? Maybe not. I think it was just no one really wanted like a time period movie where you couldn't tell people what the story was in the trailer. I don't know. It's just weird to me that both movies had like this similar loss at the box office, and they both had like an eerily similar kind of weird kookiness period piece time period. I'm just rambling on now, but just like the fact that either of those movies got the budget they did, what did they think they were going to do well at the box office? I don't know. I think they could both do well at streaming, but yeah. Getting on a tangent about Margot Robbie here. Let's just go watch Wolf of Wall Street. The next one comes from Obed Zaga. I don't know if you knew this, but Billy Bob Thornton came out in Blood In, Blood Out. What? Billy Bob Thornton came out or was in Blood In, Blood Out? I don't remember Billy Bob Thornton being in Blood In, Blood Out. Are we talking about the gang movie from like 1992, 1993, where it takes place in San Quentin prison, and it's a movie that makes you never want to go to San Quentin prison? What are we talking about right now? James Dozier says, "Hi, John. Hope you have a Merry Christmas." Well, I did have a Merry Christmas. I hope to have another Merry Christmas next year, but Christmas was last week. But thanks, man. I did have a Merry Christmas. It wasn't bad. You know, can't complain. I hope you had a Merry Christmas as well. But today is New Year's Eve. Luis Javier Rubio says, "What is your favorite Denzel Washington movie?" That's a tough one because there's a phase in Denzel career where he always played the same cocky dude who's 2 steps ahead of everyone, right? But I would say overall, my favorite Denzel movie could possibly be Training Day, maybe. I'm sure there's something I'm not thinking of, but maybe Training Day. By the way, I was talking about Arnold's one-liner in Total Recall when I was talking about eliminating your evil wife. Oh, yes, sorry. Well, then again, I gave you the perfect quote, didn't I? But thanks for the question, Lewis. Thank you so much, man. Very generous. Alexander Helson says, decide 10 years of Robert's work. Oh, decade, 10 years of Robert's work. I don't know what the question means. Decade, 10 years of Robert's work. What do you mean? The best? I don't know what that means. I will say the last few Robert Zemeckis movies weren't that good, including the live-action Pinocchio movie that we all got on Disney, and I watched 27 minutes of it, and I turned it off, and I said, never again will I ever continue this movie, and nor will I ever watch this, and why was this made? Nobody knows. The White Skull says, have you ever seen a dog give birth? That is the question I've been waiting for since I've been doing live shows for the last 2.5 years. And I'm glad that you asked it. And I can safely say, no, I have not. I haven't. I have never seen a dog give birth. Have you? James Dozier says, also wishing you a new year of great content. Well, thanks, James. Yeah, look out for some videos this January, some top 10 videos. It's going to be a good time. A weird year for movies. It really was. Just weird. Like we got a few sequels this year where I never thought they would happen. Like Avatar 2. It came out. It happened. Like, did after I saw it, I was like, did I just dream about this? Or did I really see the movie finally? Top Gun 2. Who would have ever thought we'd get a Top Gun 2 movie? And it would be one of the biggest, best movies of the year. It's crazy. We live in an upside down reality right now. I just want you guys to know that. Yorkshire Rose said nothing, but thank you, Yorkshire Rose. No question there. Scott Sullivan, how's it going, Scott? Agree on odd number years. It looks weird on movie titles. Yeah, it does. It doesn't look... Odd number years on anything doesn't look... It just looks off. You're like, ooh, was that a mistake? What happened there? This will either be a crazy year or one of the most forgettable years of all time. But there's nothing wrong with a forgettable year. Because if it's a forgettable year, that means nothing bad necessarily happened. Just putting it out there. But then again, 2001 was an odd number year. Anyway, and do you guys remember what happened no, that happened in 2020. So either way, yeah, I don't know. I don't like 2023 already. It's not even here yet, and I don't like it. All right, the next one comes from Andy Sanchez. Happy 2-year anniversary. I have been following your channel since January of 2020. Well, thanks for that, Andy Sanchez. Thanks, man. 2 beautiful long years together, and here's to 2 more glorious, magical, mystical years. All right, the next one comes from... And by the way, if you guys are YouTube members, feel free to chime in the chat right now. 1901. Here we go. 1901 says, apparently my brother likes Hulk because he likes Nick Nolte in the father-son stuff and good. And after the first hour, it's good. I think it's nuts. I think he's nuts. I think I couldn't read your question there because it was crazy. I'm glad that your brother can like the Ang Lee Hulk movie. But I do not. Do I like Nick Nolte in the movie playing the villain? No, not really.
Hey, Hulk, what are you doing over there? You want to come here and fight me or something? I made out of electricity. I got big dogs.
Just an awful movie. And an even more awful Nick Nolte impression. The next one comes from... come on. Update. Nico Lord. How's it going, Nico? For those who love and hate Hollywood, Babylon is the fast and aggressive dose of cinema we needed. Apparently, no one else knew they needed it because the movie made like $3 million on an $88 million budget. So that's concerning. I saw the trailer for Babylon. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to see it. It was at a press screening like 3 hours away, and I was like, I'm not driving to see that. But when you watch the trailer, like when I watched the trailer for Babylon, and I'm going to blame it on it's a really bad trailer. It's for the like pre-pseudo intellectual film lover Los Angeles or something. It's made for a niche of a niche of a niche, right? You have to love cinema. You have to love LA Hollywood cinema, and then you have to like be so into filmmaking that you also love them. Like, it takes all these different things that general audiences probably don't have. But also, the trailer did not tell you what this movie is. It just showed a coked out crazy party with Margot Robbie, and they were hoping that was enough. And 9 times out of 10, hey, if you show me that, like, I'm probably gonna check it out. But yeah, then the movie's like 3 hours long. I don't know. I haven't watched yet. I really can't chime in too much. All I can do is say it was a really bad marketing tactic and a bad trailer. And I understand why the movie is bombing because of those two things. Plus, you got to have Spider-Man in your movie. I mean, listen, we've learned by now, if you want your movie to make a lot of money, you put blue people in it or you put Spider-Man in it. That's it. Whatever movie you make, it better have one of those two fucking things in there or you're not making anything at the box office. All right? Yorkshire Rose says Black Adam's theme song is badass. Don't you agree? I don't even really remember it, to be honest with you. That's how forgettable it was. I don't really remember it. And I went back to watch Black Adam again like a week or two ago on HBO Max. And I started the movie and I was like, wait. I don't need the first 20 minutes of this movie. There's no point. So I skipped 20 minutes in. And then I saw the little kid on a skateboard, and I was like, ooh, I don't like this. And then I went to another scene where The Rock was like flying around, saying some generic bullshit The Rock would only say, wearing black spandex. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I get to the end of the movie. I just fast forwarded through the whole thing. And I get to the end of the movie where The Rock's fighting like generic Hellboy guy villain for no reason, who just abruptly shows up. And he's a bad guy because he wants to be a bad guy. And then the movie's over. And I was like, wow, that was the most forgettable, cliched piece of junk I've ever seen. So, did I answer the question? I don't know. No, I don't remember The Rock's hero theme. Joseph Knowles, how's it going, Joseph? Crazy to think, just over 10 years since Django Unchained came out. Yeah, it's weird, man. Sometimes I think back to some of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm like, wait, when did that come out? 10 years ago. What happened? Yeah, and the weird thing is, every film I love, especially Django Unchained, which is in probably my top 20 movies of all time, I remember the theater experience of watching it. I remember going on a December cold day to the movie theater and watching Django Unchained at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and no one else was there, or maybe like 2 people were there, and I just remember how immersive it was. It was a beautiful experience. Okay, the next one comes from Elliot Cecil. I'm working on a Robin fan series in the writing phase. Do you have any story details you'd like to have in a Robin show? It's set months after he leaves Batman. I think maybe... Well, he's definitely going to be a character trying to differentiate himself from Batman. He needs to prove himself. So I definitely think like the montage sequence of like, maybe he can't quite find the level of crime Batman was finding. So he's sort of like helping save the day in the most like lackluster situations. It could be like action-y, but also like a little bit of hint of comedy in there, like a little bit of levity, and like a montage sequence of him trying to like become the name of the city, like Batman is, and proving himself. That could be an interesting segment of it. Maybe he tries to develop a new costume or something, or gadgets. And then like he has like a shittier version of everything that Batman has. So like rather than the Batcave, Robin has his own like, for lack of a better term, hideout, which is sort of like, I don't know, maybe you rent like a studio apartment above a Starbucks or something. I'm just throwing things out here, but those could all be no, he rents like an old fire station that has a pole in it. So he has to slide down the pole. I don't know. I don't know. You said this is a series, right? Yeah, I think that'd be good for a series. What is he, like a 20-year-old something? Yeah. And then, but also Robin he's trying to juggle his crime fighting persona with his like dating life, right? So like sometimes when he's like waiting for something to do, he's like swiping on Tinder, looking for a date. Something like that. Don't make it super comedic, but I'm saying like those elements of like a young Robin series, I think would relate to a lot of people in their teens and their 20s. Because keep in mind, Robin's a young dude, he just happens to be fighting crime. But don't make him as naive as someone like Peter Parker. I'm not saying like don't do that persona, but yeah, it could be cool. The next one comes from Mopey, who says, "Hey, John, I've been watching for years. Love from Australia." Well, love back down. I was going to say love you back down under, but that sounded really weird. Well, thanks, man. Gage Cliff says, "Hello, Johnny. Fan since 2015, went through a super tough breakup a few months ago. Any advice for moving forward and bettering myself? Much love, sir." You got to get out. You got to listen to some classic 80s music. You got to go to the gym, get a pump, and prove that you're better. All right? That's what you have to do. And even if you're not, tell yourself that you are. And I promise you, it'll all work itself out in the end. Whenever you're having a down day, man, I'm telling you, turn on some classic 80s rock music and like just start doing things. Magic will happen. All right. How is it down under for you, John, from Nico Lord? It's going okay. I'm not wearing pants currently right now, but I am wearing a Macaulay Culkin Christmas sweater. Your name here said I missed his question, and I didn't miss anything. I got it right here, buddy. Happy New Year, John. This was probably already asked, but what are you looking forward to the most in 2023? Nolan's Oppenheimer looks promising. It does look promising. I'm intrigued by it. The overall story of a man creating the atomic bomb, or one of the biggest death devices ever actually made. And think about this. We're just like, we as a society, we go, oh yeah, World War II, they dropped a big bomb and killed a whole bunch of hundreds of thousands of innocent people to stop the war. Good job. But think about that just for a second. I want you to really think about that. Us as a nation dropped a bomb. Sure, some military-esque people died in the situation, but also like a lot of other people who were innocent civilians. We just dropped a bomb on them and said, "Yeah, fuck you." It's kind of weird if you think about how brutal humanity is and how we make ourselves the hero in our own stories. But are we? That is the question you have to ask yourself, and that is cinema. No, I'm looking forward to Oppenheimer. I think it looks cool. I think it's slightly, and it's weird to even say it's like a simplistic Nolan movie, because that's what I've wanted him to make more of since like Interstellar. I think he was just going too big for the sake of being big with his storytelling, like Interstellar and then Tenet, the most self-indulgent movie ever made. But Oppenheimer, to me, I like that it's based on history. I like that there's a narrative Nolan has to follow, but it's the way he's going to present it to us. I'm glad he's the director doing it. And some of the practical effects he's utilizing to showcase a nuclear explosion or atomic explosion, that gets me excited to see it on the big screen. So I'm looking forward to it. Would I say Oppenheimer is my number one movie of next year? I don't know about that. There's a few others I'm intrigued by. And I will do a video talking about my number one upcoming movies of next year. There's a few on there. There's a few I'm really intrigued by, but we don't have trailers for them yet. So I can't really say like if they're going to be good or not. The next one comes from These are weird. Here we go. All right. Will H says, speaking of Margot Robbie, I finally saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood recently, and it's one of Tarantino's best. Excuse me. I love the way it captured the 1960s Hollywood. Absolutely. It was a love letter to the end of the golden age of Hollywood in a way, before it kind of changed. I love it. You know, the thing about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the more I watch it, the more I like it every single time. I find it truly relaxing to watch. And I love buddy movies. I just like buddy movies. Like, I love the character of Cliff Booth and Rick Dalton just hanging out. Two different dudes just hanging out. I love that. So yeah, I agree. The next one comes from Mopey. It's so cool to finally catch a live stream. Your streams are the highlight of my day talking movies. My wife now knows 3 Ice Cubes, no more, no less. Well, that's good she does, and she better follow it for the rest of her life. It's the best advice I can give you guys, really. But thanks for that, man. That means a lot. Thank you for that. Thanks. Thank you. That was very nice of you to say. I want to give you a hug right now, but I can't. But thanks, man. And tell the wife I said hello. All right, the next one comes from Jason Dolan. That was a pretty good Nick Nolte. Oh, you liked my Nick Nolte impression? I have more. I love doing the Nick Nolte impression from the movie Warrior, where he plays the drunk father of Tommy, played by Tom Hardy.
Well, it's a real nice thing what you did for that boy in that tank, Tommy.
There you go. That's what I'm going to sound like one day. Just putting it out there. I'll sound like that or Clint Eastwood. Jason says, Babylon should have been a Netflix movie. It's definitely one of those movies that I think Netflix would dump $300 million into, though it's a movie that should cost $50 million to make at the most. And 3 people would talk about it, and no one would remember it the next day. But it's the type of movie that Netflix would make, right? That's what they usually do. That's what Netflix is good at. They make overpriced movies that are the lowest form of mild entertainment value that you can get. They look good, like they look expensive, but at the same time, they don't look cinematic as they should. It's a weird phenomenon that Netflix always is able to, like, they all look like Netflix movies. They all have the same dull, dried out, flat look to them because that's what Netflix likes their movies to look at. Like The Gray Man, for example. And then they come out, and 2 days later, no one talks about them. And I just have to ask, was that worth a $200 million investment? I would probably say it was not. But we keep doing it. I don't understand. And the reason Netflix movies have a certain look is, I'll tell you right now, it's because Netflix has certain specifications on the technical aspects of movies. And Netflix likes when their movies use red cameras. Now, red cameras have a certain digital look to them. I know a lot of people like them, but to me, red cameras look like glorified DSLRs. They just look dry and flat. And other movies, like other directors who use digital cameras, prefer like, what is it? Ari Alexa or something like that cameras? I forget the name. Is it Ari Alexas? Something like that. But they have more of a filmic look to them. Like the best example I can give you is it's the camera that they used on Mad Max Fury Road, right? It has it's a digital movie, but it has a filmic look to it. But for some reason, Netflix doesn't like those cameras, so they use red cameras, which to me don't look as filmic. So that's why you have flat-looking movies over at Netflix. All right. Oh, you guys are killing the questions. All right. We still got 20 minutes. We got 20 minutes here. Ask your questions now as I take another sip of my delicious drink. And by the way, happy New Year's Eve to all 306 of you guys watching right now. Thanks for hanging out with me. We got 20 more minutes left of the live stream, so thank you guys so much. And what are you guys doing tonight? Over in the normal chat, don't super chat this shit. Just tell me a normal, just respond to it with a normal reply. What are you guys doing? First of all, here's what I want. Where are you located? And what are you doing tonight? Let me know that in the chat. Okay, the next one comes from Pack Attack. Favorite 007 movie and least favorite 007 movie. I would say my favorite is Casino Royale. I just think it's the perfect James Bond movie. It's the perfect 3-act structure of a movie because every different act in each structure of that film feels like its own conclusive movie. It feels like you got 3 James Bond movies in one. Like the opening act has like the suspense, the mystery, like the chase sequence on the construction site, the airport chase sequence. It's got a little bit of love in it. Then you have the second act of the movie, which is sort of like a little bit more subdued, and it's the thinking man's action movie where he's playing poker. He's using his wits, and I like that suspense. And then you have the third act structure of the movie where everything culminates and he gets his balls hit with a rope, and I'm just like, this is phenomenal, and it has not been topped since. Least favorite is Easily the one with Halle Berry in it. What was that? Die Another Day or Kill Me Today or I Want to Die as I watch this movie today. Die Another Day. Was that it? What is the third Pierce Brosnan, or maybe it's the fourth Pierce Brosnan movie? Whatever one with that had the ice fortress with the invisible car. People were glowing like crystals. They were vampires in Twilight, and it had Halle Berry in it. That's my least favorite. Die Another Day. Yeah, that was it. All right, we got a few responses here from you guys. Mr. 47 says California, getting high and watching the countdown at home, laugh my ass off. Hey man, not much different here. I'll tell you what, the older I get, the more of a recluse I become. You guys are my outlet to society. I want you to know that, okay? Jay Flick says I'm in Harper Woods. Where is Harper Woods? What country? What state? I'm celebrating New Year's alone. Well, man, you're not alone. You're not alone because I'm here with you. You're listening to the soothing sounds of Flick Pick at 8:16 p.m. All right. And next up is Nickelback's new hit. The next one comes from Nico Lord, 6:15 p.m. in Santa Fe, the oldest capital of the U.S. Watching you while I make some food. Well, thanks for that, man. I'm going to get some food here shortly. Maybe get some takeout from, where am I going to get takeout from? Texas Roadhouse. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, the next one comes from, we got Hella Fest here in New Zealand. We got Nate here, who is in Oregon, house sitting tonight. Any movies, any recommendations? Dude, I give the same movie recommendations over and over again because I know they're truly visceral experiences I want everyone to enjoy at one point in their life. Like I watched Terminator 2 Judgment Day last night, or the other night, a couple nights ago. I've been watching like the same like movies I love on my new theater setup, and it's like watching them for the first time again with the surround sound and the picture quality and everything. And we made some popcorn in our popcorn machine, but something about watching T2 Judgment Day the other night was like, I felt everything James Cameron was trying to give to me. I know that sounds weird. I do. But I was looking at the lighting of the movie. I was truly looking at the way he lit everything and the way he makes every little thing cinematic and epic. And it's like, it's the ultimate man movie of all time. Like when the T-800 gets dipped down into that melting steel and he puts his thumb up, a quiver went through my body. I went, oh. I don't know. So watch T2 Judgment Day. That's my recommendation to you tonight. That or watch Forrest Gump. Josh Coffey says, Happy New Year, Flick Pick. Love you, bro. Well, I love you too, man. Happy New Year to you, man. And you've been a member for 19 glorious, beautiful, long months. Thank you for that. All right, let's get back to the questions over here. Azif Chad Hurry says, thoughts on Andrew Tate, like or dislike him, why? I think he's interesting. I think sometimes he spews out some logic in a weird way, but generally speaking, he says some truthful stuff. He really does. And I think there was a reason he catched on fire when it came to like the internet and memeability and clips on TikTok. I get it. Like or hate him, he was like interesting to watch. You know, that's the thing. Now, recently, I think he was arrested in Romania for some crazy stuff. I'm not quite sure. But the most interesting thing about all of that was when he was being arrested and walking out with the SWAT team, he's like, the Matrix finally caught me. The Matrix finally caught me. And for some reason, I relate to that. I'm just putting it out there. Like when you start speaking against the system so much, the system comes crashing down on you. Isn't that weird how that always happens to people? Just all right, continuing on here. Nick the Deek says, hey, John, I can't stay and watch the full stream because of New Year's with the family. Forget your family. I'm your family now. But hey, no worries, man. We're only going to do this for another 12 minutes, so don't worry. So I wanted to pop in and wish you a happy new year, and I look forward to the great content from you that you have in store for 2023. Well, thanks, Nick. And thank you so much. Thank you for that. And go celebrate with your family. Mark Robertson says, not really a question. Just want to say I'll never get over the fact we don't get a Ben Affleck directed movie with Deathstroke as a villain. I want it so bad. All the best for 2023, man. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, it's a big hit and miss for me. You know, everything leading up to that solo Ben Affleck Batman movie, where it was sort of going to have a James Bond-esque vibe to it. He had a slimmed down bat suit. Deathstroke was going to be the villain. I had a feeling it was like the tone I wanted to see for a very long time in a Batman movie. You know, don't get me wrong. I like the ultra grounded sort of seediness of Matt Reeves' Batman. But I also like the fantastical element in a Batman movie where you can have all the crazy bat gadgets, but they're handled with a certain level of care and basically, I like the fantastical Batman movies that aren't Joel Schumacher bullshit toy commercials, right? Like, there's a certain blend, a certain vibe, a certain tone that you can have and make it believable and feel like you're in this reality, even if there's a flying Batmobile, right? Like the Dark Knight Returns, or not, the Dark Knight Rises, sorry. Like, he's got a flying Batmobile, but it's like believable in the story, right? And that's what I was looking forward to with that solo outing of Ben Affleck. But who knows? Who knows what's happening over at DC with James Gunn? There's crazy, like, the things that are like, there's no Superman, but we're keeping Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie. Like, okay, what's happening here? You're keeping some of it, but not all of it. Like, it's like James Gunn is like, we don't want Henry Cavill Superman, even though everyone wants him, but we're keeping my shitty version of Suicide Squad. Like, okay, so we're keeping King Shark, but we can't keep Henry Cavill Superman. I hate to say it, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. All right, the next one comes from Mr. 47. Happy New Year in advance, John. What's your go-to popcorn when you watch a movie at home? Costco brand movie theater butter is damn close to theater quality. We actually have a popcorn machine, and it produces, and I'm not saying this to, I know it sounds biased, but my popcorn machine produces the best popcorn ever made in all of human history. Now, what we do is there's these kits. If you have your own popcorn machine, like a kettle at home that can heat up the popcorn, you dump it out. There's these kits you can buy on Amazon where it comes with the butter, the salt, the seeds, and the perfect amount of everything that you mix together. You dump that all in, and it makes the perfect concoction of popcorn. So my popcorn machine makes the best popcorn. That is the best popcorn I've ever had. I truly mean it. It's super, like, it's just enough saltiness, just enough oil, just enough butter, but it's not like greasy and saturated. It's like crisp and delicious. So there's maybe I'll start making it and selling it on the internet. That's what I'll start doing. Flix Pops and more. That's what you get. What's the more? I can't tell you that. Pot of Plant Entertainment says, ever done anything dirty in the movie theater? Who hasn't? But on a lighter note, the movie theater itself is utterly disgusting. And to give you some backstory on why that is I used to be an usher at the movie theater years and years ago. And I remember there's not enough time to clean the theater. When you walk into a 400-seat auditorium and you have 7 minutes to clean it until the next showing starts or people start coming into the theater, you have to cut corners. You're just expected to do so. And it's the way that the theater is designed. It's designed to allow you to hide filth. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you go to the auditorium and you look at the rows and rows of seats, those seats flip up. Why do those seats flip up? Sure, yeah, you can get down the aisle, but no, it's so whatever trash is on the seat flips back behind it. And what they did is they created each section to where each level, which with each seat on it, there's like a little gutter behind the seat. Like, so whatever you tuck down behind that seat, down in the crevices of that gutter, like a bag of popcorn, a soda, whatever, a dirty diaper, for example, which I've found many of, you can hide that behind the seat, under it, and back, and you'll never see it. That's what we do as ushers. We just tuck all the filth down that we can't get to. We shove it behind the seat. So when you watch movies late at night, and if it's been a busy day at the theater, you're setting upon dirty diapers, trash, chewed up bubble gum. There's all kinds of disgusting, grotesque shit underneath you. But what happens at the very end of the night, they actually have cleaning crews that come through, and like third-party cleaning crews, and they clean it all out. And some of them use like air blowers to blow out from under the seats all the shit that's under there, caked up and clogged up, and they blow it all out and actually clean it. So my job as an usher wasn't to clean the auditorium. It was simply to hide the filth. Continuing on. And I can't even tell you some of the stuff I've seen when the auditorium lights are on. When you look at the seats up close, I'm telling you guys, you would not sit there if you could see what's actually on them. Just crusted like DNA. Let's go to the next question. Mr. 47 says, Happy New Year, John. Did I already answer this? Oh, I already answered this. Sorry. Josh Coffey, who's been a member for 19 months, says, Happy New Year, Flick. Love you, bro. Love you too, Josh. Thanks for that. Elliot Cecil says, Hey, Hamilton, have a holly jolly Christmas. Hi, it's Carlton. Carlton wears the sweaters like this. But thanks, man. Kung Fu Hot Dog says, Happy New York, John. Can you do... Oh, you said Happy New Year's, but you put NY. I thought New York. Happy New Year's, John. Can you do some food vlogs? And do you still tip the delivery man? I'm in the UK. James Cameron hates guns now. Hypocrite. Well, because he's all about saving the earth and the planet, man, but he still uses guns in his movies. I'm just putting it out there. Do I tip I tip delivery men. Whoever handles your food, you do not want to make mad. Tip people who handle your food. And you'll have an easy breezy life, I promise you. And would I do more food vlogs? I don't know, maybe. Elliot Cecil says, Cool party. What killed the dinosaurs? Joel Schumacher's shitty Batman movies. Carter Lovejoy says, George Clooney's nipples killed the dinosaurs. Carter Lovejoy says, Best Christmas gift you ever got. Man, that's a tough one. It's hard to say. You know, you think like, oh, when I was a kid, I got this really expensive thing. But then it's like, what is the most meaningful Christmas gift you've ever got? And I don't know. At this point in time, I don't know. I think back to my childhood days, and I think back to like, and this is sort of like, it sounds like pure consumerism. Like, oh, I received a Super Nintendo as a kid, and that was the best gift I ever got. It sounds so selfish, but it's not, and I'll explain why. Because that Super Nintendo was like this glorious thing that me and my family and my sisters enjoyed for years to come. Like, this was like the thing that we all sat around and played Super Mario World for hours on end. And then later on, I played it until like the N64 came out, which was like 1996, 1997. And I remember playing that thing for like 5 years. And like, I remember all the good times I had with my friends playing like Mortal Kombat and Super Nintendo and games like that. And, so I think as from a childhood viewpoint, like that Super Nintendo is like overall the best gift I ever got. Like just the culmination of all the different fun times I had with my friends and my family playing it. Maybe that. All right, the next one comes from Carter Love. I'm continuing on with Carter Lovejoy's question here. This year, my sister got me a stovetop popcorn kettle with popcorn and making materials that come in a retro tin containers. Happy New Year, John. Well, thanks, man. Make some popcorn right now. What are you doing, man? Go make that popcorn that your sister got you. That sounds delicious. But you got to salt that shit. I'll tell you one thing I like: salty popcorn. I can never have enough salt because salt makes me want to drink my Diet Dr. Pepper even more. So it's the perfect blend. Flicks at Dawn says, best movie you watched for the first time in 2022 that wasn't made in 2022. That is a good question, mister. Wow. So this year I did watch a few movies I have not ever gotten around to watching. One movie I had never seen that I recently watched was Ex Machina. Really enjoyed it. I was like, why did I never watch this? Another movie that I had never watched until this year was It Follows, a horror film, which was also really well done. I was like, why did I never watch this? So those are two movies I remember that I really enjoyed that I never got around to watching. And I was like, I almost was mad at myself. I never watched them. I was like, what's wrong with you, man? I was like, don't do that again. And then I punished myself by doing this. All right, the next one comes from Elliot Cecil. John, you should watch Wednesday on Netflix. I watched the first 2 episodes of Wednesday. Jenna Ortega, I like her as Wednesday. I think it's a well-made show. A lot of it feels like filler made for like 20-year-old girls. And I get the vibe of the show. I get the Harry Potter vibe of Hogwarts. And there's like some dark humor in there. And I know there's some very like cool scenes people like. But overall, I just don't know if I care enough to watch like multiple episodes of it, because some of the storylines thus far are just like fizzling out. I almost feel like Wednesday would have been better as like an hour and a half movie at this point, but it's very well made. James Osher says, I'm sorry, John, but did you get my Streamlab? I should pop up here if I did, or else it didn't go through, man. James, let's see, James. I'm looking for you, buddy. I see your one from earlier. I did answer it, James. I see the other one. I see. Oh, here we go. James Dozier says, would you say the 2000s was the last great decade for movies? I mean, that's the truth. Are you saying 2010 to 2020, or 2000 to 2010? Are you saying the early 2000s, like before 2010? Every decade has a handful of really good movies, and a few of them always contain a few movies I don't want to live without. Would I say the early 2000s was like the final decade before some movies just became like content? Like, here's a movie for the sake of making content. Yes, I think that's fair. I think the last like phase of like real Hollywood cinema started to fizzle out in the early 2000s. Like, that's when the formula that Hollywood has always known sort of fizzled out. And now we're in like this weird, we don't know quite what to do. Like, we're making streaming movies, we're making epic blockbusters, but they have to be like IP blockbusters or else no one will ever go see them. We're at a weird like crossroads for cinema right now. And it's like a lot of people don't care about movies anymore. They just want 2 hours of content. They want movies like The Gray Man on Netflix. You know, that's what they want. So it's a weird time, you know, and I'm scared to see where we end up in another decade. But we're still getting quality movies. We still have quality directors. And that's good. So it's a weird time for cinema, really. It really is. Like, what is going to take over? The theater, like, even when it comes to like box office, like it's even like the best box office you can get is still lower than what it used to sort of be. So it's like we're lowering our standards, and it's like it's a weird money-making formula nowadays. It's like you definitely rely more on the back end than you ever have before. And then what is the back end? It's streaming. So it's like you have to justify the subscriber count and the subscriptions you get for movies now, but it's hard to factor that into box office to figure out the success. All right, the next one comes from Stephanie Myers. How's it going, Stephanie? Hey, John, who's more suave, fictional James Bond or real life Gary Grant? Have an amazing New Year. I'm trying to think of like Gary or you said Cary Grant. I'm sorry. I said Gary Grant. Who the fuck is Gary Grant? Let's look up something here. Cary Grant. He's a suave man from the 19, let's see. I'm trying to, what is the movie he did here? I'm going to try to find it here. The Philadelphia Story? That's what you want to, okay. I was thinking of somebody else for a second here. You know what? I'm gonna go with James Bond. But which incarnation of James Bond? That's the question. That's truly the question. I'm gonna go Pierce Brosnan. He had some suave ability about him. But thanks for the question. Will H says, John, the Nick Nolte impression is funny as hell. Let's hear your Paul Dano Riddler impression. Happy New Year's, Flick. Cheers, 2023. Paul Dano impression. We'll do his Riddler impression from the Batman. Hey guys, it's me again. Thanks for the advice on the triggers. It was really helpful. That's my Paul Dano impression. Paul Dano had an OnlyFans for terrorism in the Batman. Essentially, if I was asking you guys how to build explosives, and by the way, now the FBI is going to show up at my door tomorrow, and asking for super chats on advice how to do it, that is essentially what the Riddler was doing on like some Discord server. So, weird stuff. We got one here from Jeffrey Long. Thanks for the super chat. No question, Jeffrey, but Happy New Year to you, man. Nico Lore says, Stephanie Meyer, the author of the Twilight Saga? Yes. Yeah, the creator of Twilight watches my live streams quite often. Thank you. Spot on. Thank you. That's my best Paul Dano impression. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up the live show here. I had to make a quick one tonight. I'm going to hang out tonight, celebrate the New Year's, watch some Forrest Gump, and that's my recommendation to all of you. But what I do want to say is thank you guys for hanging out for 2022. It's been a blast. Thanks for watching the videos, subscribing, just looking at my stupid face for the last 365 days of the year. And here's looking forward to 2023. I hope you guys have a good year. I hope you guys have a good New Year's Eve, but a better 23. I hope you have a better 2023 than you did a 2022. If that's even possible, I hope it happens for all of you. As always, guys, Joseph says, wait! What am I waiting for, Joseph? Oh, you just got here. Sorry, I gotta go. I gotta get some food. I gotta get some more drinks. Nico Lore says, love you, Daddy. Well, I love you too. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy New Year's Eve, and here's to look into 2023. Stay safe, guys, and I'll see you in the new year. Oh, and by the way, don't get scared now.